Welcome to How Now, the podcast where we talk about how to live in the now. And here's your host, Kim Martin Raymond.
Peace and blessings, love and light, and welcome to this edition of the How Now podcast, where we talk about how to live in the now. I am your host, Kim Martin Raymond. I'm a minister, spiritual life coach, author, and founder of Redefining You LLC, where I help my clients to align themselves mind, body, and spirit. And welcome to this special edition of the How Now podcast. We are officially 2 years in. And so I am recording live via Zoom. So there are people, if you want to hop on Zoom and you've been on my Facebook page, go on there, click the link and join me on Zoom. And I am actually coming in live for the first time on Instagram. So if you are here, give me a shout out. Do a hashtag live, let me know that you're here, and we're going to go ahead and get started. But I really like for you to come on over to the Zoom, so that way you can see I have a little presentation that I kind of wanted to go through with you guys. But I am so excited to be here and to be finishing up this season 2 of the How Now podcast. We'll be going into season 3, going into 2023. So I am so excited about that. Thank you all for joining me. Or if you get to see this in replay, I'm excited that you're here or that you've taken time to do that. So what I'm going to do for those who are joining me on Zoom, I'm going to share my screen with you guys. And we're going to go ahead and get this party started. So I'm so excited again that you guys are here. This is so this is so thrilling. This is so thrilling. Like I said, 2 years. I started the How Now podcast in December of 2020, December 2nd to be exact. And it came out of a lot of people asking, what was going on with this pandemic and, what should they do? And, for those of you who know me and what I do, aside from this podcast, I am also a life coach. And so a lot of my clients were asking, what is it that, what is it that I'm doing, or what is it that they should be doing with regards to, this pandemic. They didn't know what was going on. They were fearful about what was going on. And, I kept thinking, it's not really, what now, but how now? We knew that a pandemic was taking place. We knew that there were issues that were going on, but we didn't quite know how to navigate in this new space, because it was something that was happening to everyone at the same exact time. And so, I just had a lot of people saying, what do we do now? And I just kind of said it wasn't a what now, it's a how now. How are we navigating this space? How are we going to cope in this space that we're in? And my dear friend Shamanda, she jumped in and she said, we talk about cope, and cope is creating our peaceful existence. Hey, thank you so much. She was talking about creating our peaceful existence. So learning how to cope. Okay. And so, that's kind of, where the How Now podcast came to be. So, I have guests from different walks of life just talking about different ways that we're learning to cope in this new environment that we're in. And so, it was great to actually start this podcast to give people a platform on which to talk about things that are happening in there now, things that people are not familiar with. We're in an information age, and so we want to take time to talk about what it is that's going on. How do we do that? How do we navigate in this new space that we're in, that nobody's been in, but we're all in at the same time? How do we deal with it? And so that's how the show was birthed. And so, when I was thinking about the podcast and how I was going to start it, I wanted to have a logo for the show. And so, for those of you who are joining me on Zoom or clicking on Zoom, I have a little presentation that's up. And it was actually my goddaughter who created the logo for the show. Okay. And her name is Claudette. Shouts out to my baby girl, Claudette Bay, and she's in art school now. And she created the logo for me because I can't draw anything outside of a stick figure. So she was able to go on and she took the vision that I had in my head and put it on paper. I told her what I was thinking about, and she said, she calls me auntie. She was like, is this what it looks like? Is this what it's looking like in your mind? And I said, you know what? Yes, it is. And she put it there, and it took me almost 2 years, but I took that logo that she worked so hard on, and that vision that she brought to reality for me, and I trademarked it. And so it officially became, the How Now logo officially became a trademark on September 13th of this year. So I'm excited about that. It is a trademark, and it was a lot of time, and it was a financial sacrifice to make to do this, to be able to trademark a logo. And so I even had it tattooed on me. So for those of you who are watching live, you can even see it. It's tattooed on my arm. Yes. So I actually had it put on my arm. I didn't have the little words that go on the bottom that say where we talk about how to live in the now. That's on the official trademark logo, but on my arm, it's just on my arm. So for those who can see that, you can see it there on my arm, because I was like, okay, this was a lot. And so it's going to go with me. so my logo is there. So shouts out again to my god baby Claudette, who really brought that vision to life for me. And then I have my theme music. If you've seen any of my podcasts over the last 2 years, I've got that music. Bill, 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 bill. That's my song. Okay. That is my cousin, Mike Dinero. I have his information up on my screen as well. He is with www.unitedmasters.com/Mike, MIC -D-Nero, Nero. So it's Mike Dinero. And so, check him out. He makes some amazing, amazing beats. And when I heard the song, the little clip, and it's called 70s Harlem. And if anybody knows me, I'm from New York. My parents are from Harlem. And so, he calls this, and I'm a 70s baby. So he calls it 70s Harlem. And when I heard it, I fell in love with it. And so that became my theme music for my show. And so shouts out to my cousin, Mike. He does an amazing job. He's got some wonderful beats. So, check him out and see if you've got something going on and you need some, theme music to go along with it. Check him out. His name is Mike Dinero. That's my boy. Love you, cuz. Love you, love you. So, those are two things that we're going along with the show. And then now we get to my guests. The guests that I've had on my show over this year have been absolutely amazing. Okay, before I talk about them, I've got, friends here on Instagram. Miss Newton Knows says, love your hair. All right, so let's stop for a minute and talk about this hair. Let's talk about this hair. I just got my hair done today. I'm trying something new. Everyone who knows me knows my trademark, my signature is my head wraps. I'm all about the head wraps. Okay, so I wear them consistently and constantly. I have them in all different colors, because I have a 5 head. We're just gonna go ahead and call it what it is. All right, we're gonna call it 5 head. And I have had issues with my edges, from a situation that happened back when I was in 6th grade. So lost my edges, and so I've shaved the sides of my head, and so I was a little self-conscious at first, so I wouldn't go without my head wrap. So that's my signature, my signature thing. Everybody knows I wear my head wraps. But I've recently, released it. And it'll come back occasionally. So for those who miss it, they may miss it. Hi guys. Hey. Hold on a minute. I have to shout out to my girl, Julie. Hey Julie, love you. That's my sister. Hey Kevin, what's up? And so, I go on and I go to my loctician today, and I said, okay, I need to do something different with my hair. And there's a reason why it's in the style that it's in. I'm going to talk about that a little later on. Hey, Carissa, how you doing, love? That one of my high school buddies. All right, Carissa, thank you for stopping in. And so, that's kind of where the hairstyle comes in. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Shouts out to my loctician. Her name is Newbie. She is awesome and amazing. There are pipe cleaners in there, so I can shape and mold this little hairdo and do something. So I'm going to be doing some funky kind of edgy things with it. So I'm like, okay. So thank you for giving me a shout out, Miss Newton Nose, and for the hair, because there are things, of course, as you go through your show and people get to see it, they're like, oh, okay, she looks different. And then we'll talk a little bit about that as well, because there have been some changes in my appearance over the last 2 years since we started the show. And like I said, we're going to get to that. I don't want to jump too far ahead, but there have been a lot of things that have happened. Even when I started the show and was talking about talking about how I have, the music, how I created the logo. Then, I said, well, how is this platform going to work? How is it going to, how am I going to get this thing off the ground? And so, I started thinking about guests. I started thinking about how I wanted this to look. And I really wanted the show to be a reflection of me. I wanted it to be comfortable. I wanted people to feel like they were just sitting in my house and we were having a conversation. And so that's kind of how the format plays out. It's very informal. I have my guests come on the show and we just talk until we exhaust the topic and then we let it go. And so, I don't, I didn't want to have it be so structured, because, how I'm living in this now is not a structured life. I don't have a structured life that I'm living. I have things that are going on, and some things are on the fly. When I started the show, I made sure I had some pre-recorded shows. I wanted to have pre-recorded shows because I had a Blog Talk Radio show many years ago, and it was crazy. It was crazy to just go live. And I was like, oh my goodness. And then sometimes you would have people who would say they want to be on your show and then they don't show up. And you're like, what? You're like, see you tonight. And they're like, okay. And then they don't show up. And you're like, what do I do? So it was weird. It was weird to try to figure out how to, how to get guests and to make sure that people would show up. So I did, before I even started the podcast, I had, some guests lined up because I didn't want there to be a time when I wasn't prepared or didn't have a show ready. And so I, made sure that I did that. Then I had people, it's a podcast. It's something that you listen to. And then I had special friends who were just like, oh, okay, so where can I watch your show? And I'm like, it's a podcast, you listen to it. And they were like, but where can I go to watch the show? And I'm like, you listen to it now, for my girl Nene, who's on with me too. And we worked in special education before. So I said, okay, for my special friends, I said, well, okay, or for my visual learners, I said, I'm going to need to not only have the show be one you can listen to, it's going to have to be one that you can watch as well. And so since I was doing the shows via Zoom, I, asked my guests if it was okay for them to actually watch it was okay for me to use the video as well as the audio for the shows, and everyone was fine with that. And that's how my YouTube channel got birthed. And so, I have the How Now YouTube channel, and then I have the podcast so that people can listen to it and people can watch it. So I wanted people to be able to do that. And I gave them an opportunity to do both. And so that's how, the show kind of came into fruition, and I wanted it to be natural. People were like, oh my goodness, well, what happens if my dog barks or if the kids come by? Then that's what happened, because this is life and I wanted it to be real. And, I have a grandbaby who stands right outside this door that's on the side of me. And she's like, okay, Nana. And she calls me Banana because she thinks that's funny. But I have a 5-year-old grandbaby, and she stands outside that door. And as soon as I am done and I open that door, she's on me. She's like, okay, Grandma, what are we going to do? What are we doing, Nana? What are we doing? She wants to know what we're doing. And so, I have a life. I have a pet. I have a cat. His name is Nubis. And, he doesn't really wander around because I have the door closed, so he's not going to come in. But, I have things going. I have a life. I have a family. I have a very loud husband. Shouts out to my husband, Gerard. Love him to pieces. But he's loud. He's loud. And so I'll say, honey, I'm recording. And unfortunately, my garage is under where I record. My home office is under, the garage is under my office, and he does contract work. So where I live and where he lives and breathes is where I live and breathe. And so, every now and then he may be getting a tool or something and you will hear crunch, 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 crunch. And I'm just like, dude, I'm recording. So, it's hilarious, but these are things, this is life. This is what's happening right now. And so, I wanted the show to be as natural as it could be for the people that were coming on, and I didn't want them to feel like they had to be stuck to a time frame. Come on and talk about the things that are happening in your now, the things that are going on. And when we've gotten to that point where we can't talk about anything else, we'll just end the show. And if the show ends in an hour, it ends in an hour. If it ends in 35 minutes, it ends in 35 minutes. But it's getting the content out there and creating a platform for people to be able to talk about what's happening, and so that people can make educated and informed decisions about the things that are going on in their life. Very early on in the show, I did a show on estate planning because people were losing loved ones and they were not familiar with the process of estate planning or planning for someone's untimely death. And so I had a guest to come on the show and talk about that, and so, the things that I've talked about on the show are just topics where I scratch the surface and give people an opportunity to say, oh, okay, well, I want to know a little bit more about that. Then they can go about taking the steps to do that. Again, we live in an information age. And again, like I said, I started the show out of people figuring out what to do, how to create their peaceful existence, how to cope in this environment. And one thing that also was generated when I started the show is, to be able to take people from a place of fear, okay, to a place of wisdom and knowledge, and then to a place of growth so they can reach back and help others. So that kind of is the premise behind the show as well. I wanted to be able to take people, when we talk about the fear of the pandemic, people not knowing what was going on, what was happening, to take them to a place of education. When we were in the pandemic stage, we were like, okay, we need to figure out what it is that we're supposed to do. We're stuck in the house. We can't leave the house. We're quarantined. What's happening? And that was just like people going to the CDC and going to the World Health Organization and figuring out what is it that we're supposed to do now that this is happening. So we get from that place of fear to a place of understanding and knowledge and learning what it is that we need to do with what's happening, and then going to a space of growth. We had people who were making masks and teaching people how to make, disinfectants and things like that. So, people had to try to figure that part out, and they were able to reach back. Those who learned what it was that was necessary started to take steps to help people and to reach back. And that's kind of, the platform of the show as well. So, people vacillate, or people operate in those three realms. You operate in that place of fear where you're kind of apprehensive because you don't know. Then you go into a space where you're learning and you're gathering information so you can make informed decisions. And then once you make that informed decision or get to a place where you're growing or you've learned something from that, you now can reach back and help others. So that's kind of, the platform that I've created. Is just making it possible for people to learn about things that they may not have known about. And so, my guests come from all walks of life. They come from different aspects. Like, we talk about different things because there's a lot of things happening right now. And so sometimes there'll be, clients or friends or family members that say, hey, I'd like to learn a little bit more about this. Can you find a guest about, who can talk about that? And those are the things I talk about. I reach out to people who I've known, people who I've networked with in the past, people who are from my past, people who I've met recently. And those are the people who are our guests on my show. They come on, they've got points of interest. There are things that they want to talk about. And some will just reach out to me and say, hey, you have a show. I'd love to be on your show and talk about X, Y, and Z. And so I bring them on, and if they're multidimensional and they know about different things, then I have them come on more than one time. Once you come on the show, you're welcome to come on the show as often as you like, because then you can come on and talk to people about, what's happening in your now. And so that's kind of the premise behind the show. So I wanted to take a minute to just, go through some of the special guests that were on my show during this season. And again, shouts out to Carissa and to Julie. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. I appreciate it. Actually, Julie has been a guest on the show. She was one of the guests on my show this year, and she was a guest on the show in my previous season. I believe, Julie, I think you've been on the show 3 times. And she's with Mask Together America. And, we're talking about the importance of wearing masks and staying protected and making sure that we understand that this pandemic is not over, and that we still have to be cautious and aware of the, of wearing a mask and how important it is to protect ourselves and those around us. And so she's come on the show and talked about that as well. And that's something that, is important. There are going to be people who are going to come on my show that are going to be controversial. You may not agree with those things, but it's always good for us to make informed decisions based on our knowledge. And we can't really have an opinion about something that we know little about. So the show is really good about making sure that we're letting people, know what's going on, what's happening around them, and at least, piquing their curiosity so that they can go back and say, okay, I need to look into this, or I want to know a little bit more about this. So when I have my guests on the show, I have them give their contact information at the end of the show so that people can, listen to them and reach out to them and contact them and learn more about what it is that they're doing. And so, what's up? Hey, darling. Hello, my brother. I have my brothers here visiting from Pakistan. Thank you so much for hopping in. Good to see you. And so, we, want to make sure that people are, coming in and getting the information that they need, and that they're making informed decisions. Like I said, everything is about being informed. We can't navigate in new spaces or unfamiliar spaces without being informed. So we really have to take time to dig a little, and reach in and say, okay, what is it that we can do? How is it that I can make the best of the situation that I'm in? And we don't do that unless we ask the questions, unless we dig a little deeper, we peel back the layers, and so that's kind of, like I said, the premise behind the show. So some of the guests that I've had on the show this year, I had a gentleman, his name was Zachary Green, and he talked about what is your crucible. And he was a former veteran, and he came on and he was just talking about how we can overcome, the different situations that we have in our life. And so he did it from a veteran's perspective, and he talked about the warrior entrepreneur, and talked about, people changing businesses. We have people who have changed business, and have changed careers in the midst of this pandemic, and it's been interesting for them to try to make that transition. So we've had someone to come in and talk about that. I had a young lady who came on, her name was Dr. Pat, and she came on and she talked about, why are we sick, fat, and tired? She talked about different ways that we cope with how we eat and how it makes us feel. And so, the one thing that I love about the show, like I said, we talk about things from different aspects. And, for me, it's about the spiritual, the mental, and the physical. So, those who know me know I've been on a wellness journey since last year. And so, I'm going to have people who are going to come on and talk about things that are health related, but it's also about mental health, and it's about physical health, and it's about spiritual health. So I've had people come on from different walks of life talking about different things that kind of go under that guise. Okay, I had a young lady who came on, her name was Jarena, and she came on, she talked about CBD. Now, I had heard about CBD. You have all of these places that now are popping up all over the place, and I knew nothing about it, nothing. And so, she came on and she talked about it, and talked about, different ways in which people use those products. And so I didn't know anything about that. So it was wonderful to have her come on the show and talk about that. I had a young lady who came on, and I watch her post every day. Her name is Stacy Paulin, and she came on and she talked about style and talked about how we look and our wardrobe and colors and things, about how our style and our fashion sense help, are an integral part of who we are. And so she came on and talked about that. She is phenomenal. I absolutely, absolutely love her. So shouts out to Stacy as well. I had a gentleman come on. His name is Chris Cooper, and he came on and he talked about procrastination. Huge, huge, talking about procrastination, because that's something that, I'm guilty of that myself. And so he came on and he talked about that. I had someone come on. Her name is Rena Groot. She talked about being broken to beautiful. And she actually created a course, and I was actually blessed to be a guest speaker on her course that she does on it's a 6-week course, and there's a part that talks about health and wellness and being well-rounded in that. And I'm a featured speaker in that portion of her program. So she came on and talked about that and talked about narcissism and things like that. We've seen a lot of gaslighting and things that have been going on with people, as they are connecting with, loved ones, or being at home and finding out different things that are going on and seeing different things happening in society. And she talked a little bit about that. So that was a great show. I had my former coach, my former health coach, Ann Say. She was on the show, and she talked about journeys in health and wellness. And she was an integral part of at the beginning, and actually one of the primary people who got me started on this health journey. And she has just been amazing, and she still continues to be a dear friend, someone who I met many, many moons ago, and we reconnected. And it was wonderful to have her on the show and talk about that path to health and wellness, because she's been on that path as well. And it was wonderful to have her on there. I had a lovely young lady. Her name is her name is Travis. I absolutely love her. She talked about yoga 101. And that was wonderful, having her come on and talk about yoga and about flexibility and how we can move our bodies in good space. And that was something I wasn't familiar with. Yoga, my body doesn't bend like that, but it was nice to learn some techniques and some things about yoga. Okay, I had a young lady who was on the show. Her name is Demetra Bryant. She came on and talked about tutoring and talked about helping children that were having regression. And we saw a lot of that in our education field when, children started, missing school, and they started going into that hybrid type of teaching, and, just making sure that the children had the support that they needed. So she talked about the importance of tutoring, Then I had Paz come on show. His name is Paz Simpson. He is amazing. I absolutely love him. He is always smiling. I don't think I've ever seen him close his mouth. So I don't know what that's, but he came on. He wrote a book called The Daily Dose of Happiness, and he came on and just talked about being happy. He is called the Happiness Engineer, and he is just awesome. And so, check out that show as well. He is amazing. Then I had a young lady come on. Her name is Althea Lawton Thompson, and she came on, and she's a fitness expert, and she travels all over the world, and she does a lot of beautiful retreats and that are out of the country. And she came on and just talked about living life limitlessly. And it's just wonderful. All of these people who have come on the show and have been on the show, I talk at the end of each show. I ask them, how are they living in the now? 2 things that I do. I ask my guests to introduce themselves, so that way, number 1, I don't mess up their name, and number 2, so that they are able to let people know how they want to be received. So, who knows you better than you? So when they come on, they introduce themselves, and then at the end of the show, I ask them how they're living in the now. How are they living in this space that we're in now? And people have talked about, I meditate, or I journal write, or I read my word, or they talk about the things that they do. And so it's wonderful to have them come on and to give their perspective, because it helps to strengthen other people as well. So I have them come on, and I absolutely love that they take time to do that, to just be themselves and let people see the human side of them. Okay, so I had another lady who came on. She is a master coach, and she actually teaches others to be life coaches. Her name is AJ Austin, and she is phenomenal. So she talked about the power of being a life coach. Okay, I had another gentleman who came on. His name was Ron Bowler. He had written a book, and he was talking about just expanding your personal universe and talking about writing and the importance of writing books and writing your story and telling your story. And he has an interesting story about research that he did, for someone that had to deal with the Hubble telescope, and things of that nature. And he's just a phenomenal writer and producer and creator. And he came on and he just talked about that, expanding your own, knowledge and writing things down. This is a wonderful time to write and to journal and talk about the things that are going on with you. So it was nice to have him on the show. Then I had a young lady who came on. Her name was Lillian Batey, and she talks about the right to read and the importance of children reading. And she has a wonderful a weekly call that goes out, and she has authors that come on and read books for children, so children can log in every week and listen to books and read, and just the importance of reading books. We have so many things that are electronic, so it's nice to be able to talk about children actually reading books again. So she has a wonderful program, Right to Read. Then I had the pleasure of doing a two-part series with a young lady named Crystal Blade. She has a ranch here in Georgia, in metropolitan Georgia of all places. And I had an opportunity to talk to her about finding her purpose, because she went from, corporate America to working working on a ranch and raising horses and other types of animals. And I had an opportunity to tour and ride on an RV with her and tour her facility. That was a fun show. So it was nice. That one I actually got to take on the road. So it was fun to do that show with her. And Crystal is amazing. She had a brother who passed away. He was hit by a drunk driver. And she took on this ranch, and it's an educational place for children as well. And so children can come there and they can learn, about gardening and other types of skills. And she dedicates that to her brother. So, shouts out to Crystal Blade and the J Blade Ranch. Okay. Then I had a young lady who came on and talked about being equipped to empower others. And her name was Dr. Alonia Parks, and she was amazing as well. All of these shows have had their own significance to me, and the people who brought the information, and she's just a wonderful, wonderful spirit. And she came on and just talked about that, being equipped and being born to inspire, and how we can inspire others with the things that we do. So I love that she came out and did her show. Then I had a young lady who came on. Her name is Vicky Joe, and she talked about my sanity quest. And she talked about mental health and talked about how she overcame mental health. It was a challenge for her. And so, she talked about that, and that came around the time when it was Mental Health Month, Mental Health Awareness Month. And, she talked about, her own personal journey through that. So it was wonderful to have her on the show to talk about it and, to share that experience. And then I had a young lady who came on. Her name is Jintari, and she is actually from London. And she came on the show, and that was an interesting show to get together, because we had to get the timing together, because she wasn't on the wasn't on Eastern Standard Time. So we had to try to figure out how to get her on the show. And it was very early where she was, and then we were like, no, I'll do it. And it was early where I was. So it was just, it was interesting to be able to have her come on the show from out of the country. So that was one of my first international guests. So it was great to have her on the show. And she talked about wellness and talked about pre-existing conditions. And that's something that can be difficult that we see at times. So, it was nice to have her come on the show. Then I had a wonderful, wonderful friend. His name is Mike Green. He talked about the power of leadership. And it was great to have him on the show. I was happy to see him there, and he talks about, he's been on every continent, and he talks about coaching, and he talks about helping people to be better leaders. And so that was a great show to have him on. And then my dude, I have to, his name is Cody Knox. He is just amazing. He talked about Zen and being able to get into a place of transforming yourself as an individual. And he's a dynamic artist. He's just a creative all the way around. And so it was fun to have him on the show and have him talk about the importance of transforming yourself and being in a space of growth. And so it was nice to have him on the show. And then my dear friend Benton Thomas, and he's going to be a person that you'll see again on my show, and hopefully that will be in the near future. And he talks about victory over grief and sorrow. He actually was able to write and have added to the Bible app. It's YouVersion, I believe it's YouVersion, and I hope I'm saying that right, and I know he'll let me know. But he is on a Bible app, and he came on the show and was able to talk about that, and that was so incredibly cool to have him come on and talk about that. I'm trying to make sure, I'm trying to look and see, because I want you guys to definitely check out his app, and especially as it's coming into the holiday season. Yes, it's the YouVersion Bible app. I was right. And so he's he's been on there. He talks about the importance of doing it, and he has this thing called he has a podcast himself that's called Thompson Truths. And you can go on there, and he gives Thompson Truths on a daily basis, and he is just absolutely amazing. He is a minister and a speaker and an author as well, and he is just phenomenal. And he and I will be doing some other collaborative work in the near future. Then, of course, my girl who was on here earlier, Julie Lamb, she is with Mask Together America, and just talking about the importance of wearing masks. And so she's been a guest on the show numerous times, and it was nice to have her come back on. We actually had an opportunity. Now she's in New York, but she came to Atlanta a couple of months ago, and we had an opportunity to physically meet, and that was awesome. It's nice when I can physically meet my guests. And we got an opportunity to sit and break bread. It was just amazing to finally get a chance to meet her, and I absolutely adore her. Everyone who has been on the show has become a brother or sister of mine. I tell them, once they've been on the show, they are part of the How Now family, and so they come on the show and they really that we become friends. We begin to bond. If they were not already existing friends of mine, we become fast friends, and we keep up with each other. And so it's nice, to have this platform to be able to do that. All right. Then I had a young lady who came on. She is a life coach and a travel agent. Her name was Jeanette Jones, and she talked about living, victoriously and living in the now, and how important it is to live in the space that we're in now. So she came on and talked about that, and she brings a lot of wisdom. And actually, she is in Africa, and she's from the States, but she's her dream has always been to go to another country and to be able to work abroad. And so she spends a lot of her time in Africa, and so it was wonderful to have her, be on the show, and we keep in close contact too. She's a doll. Okay, I see some other friends who have jumped on. I want to say shouts out to Stanley and to Danielle. Danielle Cunningham has been a guest on my show as well. She talked about health and wellness, and I absolutely love her. Can you hear me, Danielle?
I sure can. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Hey, for those of y'all who are
trying to make my screen big.
Yes, there are some who are I'm doing a live on Instagram, so they're on Instagram.
Oh,
so she just hopped on Zoom, because I'm doing this on Zoom as well. So Danielle just hopped on, and she was a guest on my show. She has been an integral part of my wellness journey as well, and I absolutely adore her. She knows I love her with all of my strength, and I'm about to talk about some of those health things that are going on. Some major milestones are coming up, and so I want to say thank you, number one, for being a guest on the show, and for sharing and imparting your wisdom, because people need that.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, you know how I feel about you. I was in the traffic. Oh my God, I can't believe I was stuck in traffic trying to get here. But I was like, I hope she started a little bit late.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
hope she gave us slow people a little bit of time
yeah, okay, that's all right. I
to get
did,
on.
I did, I did, and like I said, I'm just glad. Like I said, you had an opportunity to come on the show. How was your
Yeah.
experience? Did you enjoy it? I hope you did.
Oh my God, that was so yes, so professional. That was so professional. Yes, I really enjoyed it. It actually opened up like future things I'd like to get into. Like I just feel like that's good for my resume. Just have those type of um interviews. Interviews are good. And so, I need to get I need to take it up a notch and attach it to my website and start just taking advantage of every opportunity that enlightens me and you. You know what I mean?
Yes,
We
yeah.
like enlighten each other. So I really appreciate that.
Thank you. Yeah, I
I
want to give
will
people a
always
guest. Yeah, I want to
be
give them a guest
appreciative.
perspective. I
Yes.
already have some who are on my Instagram page who I absolutely love. Like I said, Julie has been a guest on the show.
Okay.
The others who are coming on, Nini and my dear brother from Pakistan who is on.
Oh, wow.
They're all on it, and they're listeners and of the show and supporters, and it I so appreciate that because, like I said,
Right.
we're just creating ways to connect. We build
Yes.
and we grow as a society and as a people when we connect.
Yes, right.
And so it's important for us to do that, to build those relationships. And so, by having, going into people's homes on a weekly basis and just having us talk about things like that, it connects us.
Yes.
It helps us to grow. It helps us to learn from each
That's
other.
right.
And when we have opportunities to connect outside of the virtual realm,
Yeah.
it's even better. It's even better. Like I said, I was saying, Julie, I see she's hopped back on. We were we had an opportunity to physically meet. She's in New York and she came to Atlanta, and we got an opportunity to meet face to face. It
Wow.
was
Wow.
wonderful. We got to
Yeah.
build, but we built a relationship virtually that transcended into a physical
Isn't that
relationship.
fun?
It was
That's
wonderful
so
to
cool.
meet her. It was
So cool.
wonderful to meet her. And so it was cool. And we got a chance to talk about some of the things that we talked about on the show, but it's about building relationships. I feel like I've built a relationship with each and every person that has been on the show.
Yes.
That's
right.
And so I mean,
you look good, by the way. You look
thank you
you look really beautiful.
much. Thank you
are
so
glowing,
much.
glowing.
I know. Look, I was going through my little guest here on this little presentation that I have up on Zoom, and I was trying to do that quickly because I know that I don't want to press people too much for time. And I know I've been on for a while, but I want to just talk a little bit about some of the other guests who's on my show, and then I want to talk about some things that I have coming down the pike. So if you'll sit tight with me,
oh, good. I'm glad I didn't miss that.
No, you didn't miss much at all. We've just been talking about that. I had a guest that was talking about the art of giving back, and his name is Bertrand St. Louis, and he was awesome. He came on, and he has his own talk show as well. Free Talk with Mr. B, and he talked about being an inspiration. Okay, hold on a second. Let me admit that I see Julie is going to join us on this aspect too. So hey, Julie, she's hopping on. I'm excited about that. Hey, friend. And so, like I said, it was great having him on the show. Then I had Dr. Love come on. His name is Dr. Love. His name was Edward Johnson. He came on and talked.
Sounds like there's a bunch of Dr. Loves out there, ain't it?
Oh yes, and he came and he talked about building strong relationships, and that was something that was awesome. Woo-hoo. It was.
Oh, awesome. I would. Oh, I got that's Dr. Love.
Dr. Love, and
I need to go on.
What's good is that you can go on and watch the shows and review. I have them. I have the shows on my website, and I'll share that at the end of the when I'm wrapping things up here.
Okay.
To let people know how they can go back and watch all these shows. All of these shows that we've had on for the year. You can go back to the shows, even the show that Danielle was on, even the show that Julie was on. Hey, Julie. How you
Hey.
doing, my sister?
Hi.
Yes, it's like I said, all of these shows are on my website, and you click on the title, and it takes you right to the show, so you're able to watch the shows in review. So all these shows that I'm talking about,
Nice.
if any of
Okay.
them have piqued your interest, you can hop on and you can listen to the show. So I'm going to share that at the end. I'm going to try to race through these because, like I said, I want to be able to tell you what things I've got coming down the pike. I had a young lady who came on. Her name is Carly Grenner. She is actually my health and wellness coach that I'm working with currently. So she is
Okay.
amazing, and she has
Nice.
been helping me in my journey, and I'm going through some pivotal points here. And so I'm
Okay.
looking, she talks about simple fat burn and the importance of our
Yes.
diet and exercise and all of those things. And so she
Okay.
has been instrumental in the weight loss that I've experienced
Oh, wow.
in my journey.
Very
So
good.
we're gonna,
Very good.
like I
Is
said,
she here? She's here in Atlanta?
she is actually in Florida.
Okay.
She is
So
in
you
Florida.
guys do wellness.
Oh yeah.
Just communicate through the, yeah.
We communicate. She and I communicate on a daily basis, and through text messages and through things like that. So it's wonderful. You develop relationships and you learn things, and I learned so much from her that I wanted to share. So I had her come on the show. Then I had a lady who came on it, and she's a morale booster. Her name is Diana George. She was amazing too. Just talking about motivation and how we can keep uplifting each other, and that's something that's important to do. So she came on and talked. This gentleman right here, his name is TJ Sweet. He is a doll baby. He has a little page that he does, and he has he has a podcast that he does as well. And it's TJ Sweet. He is just phenomenal, a wonderful mindset coach. So he came on. My girl here, her name is Lori Leslie, and she talked about business burnout. And we've seen a lot of people experiencing that
I
and burnout,
it.
and
Yes.
about how to get rid of it for good. She is a phenomenal person. And just a sidebar, she is also a person. She does she owns a spa. And she does lymphatic massages and things of that nature. So like I said, some of my guests are multifaceted. They do more than one thing. So she talked about business burnout because she experienced that when she was starting her spa in New Jersey. And now she's here in Atlanta, and she's doing a lot of things. And so she does, I get treatments from her and everything like that. She's wonderful. I mean, of course, paid treatments. I don't get anything for free, but she comes on and I mean, she really knows her stuff. And so, like I said, when I meet people, they become my guests too. So there are people who have reached out to me, and those who I've reached out to, just like I reached out to you, Danielle, because you worked with me in the very early stages of my wellness journey, and then when things got shut down, we kind of couldn't see. I used to see Danielle on a weekly bi-weekly basis. And everything just came to a halt. And I was like, I still need her. And she was able to make, pivots in her business and to be able to do things via Zoom. So now not just the people in our local area get to experience her, everyone around the world, anyone who, logs into her Zooms and into her monthly, exercise classes can go in.
The big one's coming up. My Fit Explosion. You got to get your T-shirt.
Fit Explosion.
Yes, a better me in 2023. Is that's what the shirt's saying?
Awesome. Okay, I hear that. Okay, so look, she's giving you a little heads up now. So make sure that you try to connect with her. Go in. If you go in and you look for her show, for the title of her show, look for her name, Danielle Cunningham. You can click on it, and at the end, in the description of the show, it will give her contact information. That's something that I always do at the end of each show, or when I'm advertising for the show to be broadcast, I will put on there for you to check. If you want to hear more from Danielle, or you want to learn more about Danielle, then it gives her contact information.
All the information.
You always have a way to get in contact, and I've had some of my guests come back and say, oh, well, someone saw the show and they reached out to me, because you gave my contact information. That's what we do. We give back.
That's right.
I appreciate people coming on the show and taking time out of their busy schedule to share. And so, it's important that, I in turn, make their information known, so that way when people are interested or something grabs their attention, they can go back and dig a little deeper, peel back those layers, like I was saying. All right, shouts out to Strawberry Rose. I see you waving. Hey, nice to see you. Thanks for stopping by. Okay. let me go through here. I had this show was a huge show, Crisis Prevention and De-escalation. Shouts out to Bertram Griggs and Ron Mosley. They came on and talked about prevention and de-escalation, and that was a huge show. It got very high ratings when they aired that show, talking about that, because that's something that a lot of people are dealing with on their jobs, dealing with personally. And so it was a huge show, and the timing was just right. And so, that's a blessing too. Sometimes things, hit right at the time when they need to. There were things that were going on the news, and this crisis prevention and de-escalation came in right on time. So, shouts out to those guys, and I'll be doing some work with them in the future as well. This little gentleman that I have here, his name is Cheyenne. He's talking about attracting the ideal mate, and that was an awesome show. He just recently got engaged.
Okay.
So he's been talking about, he's a life and relationship expert, and he actually got engaged a couple of weeks ago. And so, you got to check out his show, and he is just, he does like a little Wisdom Wednesday. We talk about relationships. So, check him out. But yes, he's coming off the market. So he is just
coming off the market.
He is adorable. He is adorable. So, I mean, that was a fun show. Then this young lady here, she is a sugar addiction expert. Okay. Sugar.
Are you showing something that I'm not seeing?
Yes, there should be a screen share that you're seeing, or if you're on Zoom, and if not, you'll have to catch it in the replay. But it is up there. There's a sugar method. And there goes.
Okay, there it goes.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, Stacy, she's just joined on Instagram. She was one of my former guests. I already showed you a little slide, Stacy, and so.
So Stacy is the lady that's on there now.
Yeah, but she's no. Stacy was back a little further. She is hold on. Let me see if I can go back to her real quick, so you guys can, those who are on Zoom can see a picture of her. She came on all these interviews. Yes, there she goes. Stacy Paul, and she is a style strategist. So she talks about style and the importance of our style and how it encompasses who we are as individuals. So I'm on Zoom as well, Stacy. So if you see it in your feed and you can hop over there, that would be great. But if not, she is amazing. I absolutely love her. And I, just like people check in on my show, I check in and I stay in contact with my guests.
Yes.
I want to know what's going on in there now. I want to know what's happening with them since then. All right, I'll go back there. There goes Julie's, and so she's hopped on here. She sees that we both got our little peace sign up. You can see a little picture of us with our masks on. And so that was when Julie was on the show, and we were just talking about a call to activism. And so, like I said, it's been great to come on. So like I said, you can go back and watch these shows in review. Okay. But I was getting to Jen.
Whatever topic interests you,
whatever topic interests you. I love that. That's the beauty of it. You can go back at any time.
I love that.
And go on and check out one of the shows. I want to learn about that, or I want to know a little bit more about that.
Yes.
She talked about being a sugar addict. And now she has a program that helps people to overcome sugar addiction. Think about that. That's happening right now. People are going through the holidays and all of this. Yeah. Okay, myself included. Okay, because my husband brought that cheesecake up in here. The devil is a lie, and he brought that cheesecake up in, and I sure enough had a piece of it. Yes, I did, because I was diabetic. I've just been, I'm no longer, taking medication for my diabetes, but. Let me tell you something. Me and sugar go way back, and so it was wonderful to have her on the show and to talk about that, and to establish a relationship with her, because that was something that was dear and near to me. I used to sleep with jawbreakers next to my bed. That's how bad it was.
Oh, you like candy?
I big candy eater.
Into the candy. I've never been into candy, but I like food. I like cake and cookies.
Yes.
I like cheesecake is my favorite.
Yes.
And chocolate, and I just, but I'm not big on candy.
But I've never been a real big candy. I'm a 70s kid. Like I said, now latest all the candy you could think of, lemon heads, Alexander the Great. Okay, I'm taking some people way back. Chico, all of that. All of those things. I ate all of that. It was awful.
Penny candy.
That's why, that's why I had to have oral surgery, because my teeth just weren't acting right, because I wasn't treating them right. So, anyway, it was nice to have her, like I said, come on the show and talk about sugar. Okay, then I had someone come on. I did a couple of shows towards the end of this year in review because they were important to go back to. And this was Dr. Janet Young. She is phenomenal. And she talked about the building blocks of nutrition and how to shop when you're, in stores, and the importance of, eating proper foods, for your body type, for your nutrition and everything like that. So I had her, I put her show up as a replay because it was important to talk about that as we're, going through our wellness journey. Okay. Then I had a young lady here who was talking about the childcare industry. I've had some people when early on, when I started my show, I had some people who were in the education field that came on and talked about things. This was childcare through a director's lens. She works for the childcare industry. And, she came on and talked about, what we're going through with people who have small children and the turnover that they're seeing in their daycares and things of that nature. And it was important to bring that information to light too. She is phenomenal. She is just an awesome person and has a lot of history in education. So it was nice to have her on the show. This young man here, he talked about leadership. His name is Nathan. He's from Ohio. When I say he just has the most infectious smile, I absolutely
Yes, he does.
He talked about leadership, and he talked about influencing teenagers towards leadership and the importance of, we're in this stage now where we have, we have someone in every generation group represented in the workforce. Our millennials, our generation, Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z, all of those things, our baby boomers, all of everybody is here. And so, he talked about the importance of influencing our teenagers. And so, I know he recently did was part of the Giving Tuesday campaign and received some funding towards his organization. And that was wonderful to see him do that and to be able to support him in that effort too. So it was great, to be able to do that. And that's what we do with our guests too. Give people an opportunity to support those who are doing things and maybe doing things in your area, that can be beneficial to, families that are out here, families and individuals that are out here. So it's important to do that. Okay. Then I had another young lady. She came on. I did her show in replay as well. And her name is Dr. Dorothy Smith. And she is phenomenal. And she talked about anxiety, depression, and mindfulness. And it was Mental Health Month, and it was important to have her come back on the show and talk about anxiety, depression, and mindfulness, especially as this holiday season is coming. So some shows I'll put up in review so that people can have a chance to see it if they didn't go on the website and see it in replay. They can, I'll post those shows back up again because it's important to bring certain things around again, just as a gentle reminder. And, for those who may have missed it, they'll have another opportunity. Okay. I had another young lady who came on who talked about transforming and overcoming limited beliefs. Some of these shows, like I said, came up during Mental Health Awareness Month and things like that, because it was important for people to change their ways of thinking. And then, we've had a lot of things that have happened politically. We've had a lot of things that have happened socially in our society. And so we want to have strategies. Everything to me is about creating a toolbox. We want to create a toolbox so that we're addressing things that are going on in our society. And the only way that we can do that is by being prepared. If we don't have the tools, if we don't have the things that we need, how can we cope? How can we exist in this space if we don't have what we need to do that? They always say, give me the tools to make me successful. If I don't have the tools to be successful, I can't function, or I'm going to, experience a lot of stress. So, we want to, my show is about giving people those tools that they need. I'm not going to give you a pencil box to go and fix a clogged toilet. I'm going to give you the tools that you need that are going to help you to get the job done. And so that's important. And, when I'm selecting guests and bringing guests onto the show, that what they're bringing is something that can assist someone in any aspect of their life. Okay. I had a young lady who came, her show was called The Great Resignation. Her name was Sabrina Reynolds. And, we saw a lot of people that were transitioning out of their jobs. So I had her come on. Her show was a replay as well from last year, talking about people who were resigning and leaving their jobs. And was it appropriate for them to do that? and it wasn't necessary for them to do that. And this show happened a couple of weeks ago because, people are going into the new year and trying to decide if they want to, start a new career or they want to branch out onto their own. And so, it was great to have that show come back on. She was a powerhouse. All right, we're getting towards the end here. This is Joanne Light. She was talking about, she's a parenting coach and was talking about putting joy back into parenting. As we're getting people prepared for the holiday season, and make sure that, she talked about bringing the joy back. People were getting sick of their kids. And so, she wanted to come in and talk about, how important it is, again, to build those relationships with your children and to help to support them. So it was great having her on the show. Then I had this young man come on talking about emotional fortitude. Like I said, a lot of the shows towards the end of this year have been on supporting people and their mental health.
I love it.
He talked about emotional fortitude, and
I'm
he
so going on. I'm so going to be checking these out.
Yes, thank you so much. I saw Julie had to pop off. It was great having her on. And then this is a young man. I just had this show aired. I believe it aired last week. And this is The Path to End Suffering and to Gain Emotional Freedom. And so that's something that is huge, just making sure that we're in the right mind space. Like I said, especially as we're going into Christmas and going into the new year, we want to make sure that people are equipped, that people
It's a lot of people out here that can fake very well. In other words, I know you got to finish, but I just read this today where somebody posted on their Facebook page, people fake very well.
Oh, yes.
So, a lot of people will fake happiness, but they're dying and suffering and so much pain behind closed doors. So that's why you have to treat everyone kindly, because you never know what they're going through.
That's it. That's it. We have to be able to practice empathy, and that's so important. I talk about that in just about every show.
Could be the saddest. So
that's
just
it.
wanted to say that.
That's it. It is important that we do that, that we recognize that people are suffering and that people are hurting. And that's the reason why we create platforms like this, that we can talk about these things. We need to, to be able to connect. And sometimes we don't know where to start. And so it's important to have platforms like these so that people know how to connect and how to plug in. Okay. And then, this is the one from last week. Her name is Jenna Banks. And we talked about being your own revolution. Your journey to self-love. So we talked about self-love. She wrote a book about self-love. And it's called, I want to get the title of her. She has a book that's on the bestsellers list.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she is phenomenal. And
she's a keynote speaker.
She is a keynote speaker, and she is a best-selling author. And I wanted to make sure I had the name of her. I wanted to make sure I had the name of her book.
So she that's all she does. She just works for herself.
She does. She has a website. She does courses and talks about the importance of
that's her thing.
Self-love. And I believe her book is called, I don't know why I'm not seeing it. Oh, there it goes. Here it goes. It's called I Love Me More.
I Love Me More.
Hey. Yes. And so her book is a best-selling book right now. And so it was amazing to have her come on the show and talk about self-love, because that's what we need to do. We need to make sure that we're embracing and loving ourselves, that we can, pour into others. So that was my a little bit of my guest in review for those who are watching on Zoom, who can watch the replay. I'll have the replay posted so you'll be able to see some of the banners and be able to follow some of the shows if you're interested. So now the big thing, because I know I've been on for quite some time, been on for a little over an hour now, so you'll be able to slide through, if you don't want to go through all of those, you'll be able to pick them up on the website. But what's next for the How Now podcast? Okay. I have been going through a wellness journey, as many of you know, and I started this wellness journey back in September of last year. Actually, I started it on Labor Day. It was something that I needed to birth. It was something that needed to come out of me, and so I started this journey, and I have since lost 64 pounds. So I've lost 64 pounds since I started my wellness journey. And because, Danielle is in the fitness realm, I know that she's very proud. She's seen the progress, and you can see in those of you who will catch this Zoom and replay, you'll be able to see the before and after pictures. Where I started at 238 pounds, I'm 175 pounds now, 174 pounds now. And so it has been a challenge. I'm looking at the angle on this camera on the on my Instagram. I'm like, is it? I don't know if it's as flattering as it could be, but I have lost 64 pounds.
Oh, it's very noticeable.
Yeah, actually, I will share this so you all will be the first to know, and you'll hear more about this coming down the pike. I am actually having a major surgery in 2 days.
Whoa.
So in 2 days, I am having a major surgery because those who know my wellness journey know that I have spinal stenosis. So I have issues with my back. And because I've lost so much weight, I have hanging skin that has to be removed.
Oh, wow.
So I'm having that skin removed, and that's going to take place in a couple of days. And so I will be vlogging about that. It's going to be on I have my the How Now YouTube channel, and one of the playlists on there is going to be spirit body transformation, because that's going to be the new aspect of my business. I do coaching, but I will be doing health coaching as well under the title Spirit Body Transformation. So it will be trimming the spiritual, mental, and physical fat. So I'm going to be doing some vlogs, and they're going to be coming out at the first of the year, that are going to be talking about my recovery, that are going to be walking through the surgery that I'm going to be going through. I've been doing a little countdown from a couple of days ago, and I'll be sharing that with my listening audience and with those, just to let you know what's going on in that realm of fitness, because this is a huge part of what's happening in my now. And so I wanted to share that. So that's something that's coming down the pike. You're going to be hearing more about that. You're going to be able to follow on that channel. And that's going to be important to like, follow, to share and subscribe. So I want people to stay connected. And so I have my my How Now podcast website that you can go to is www.hownowpodcast.com. You can go on there, and it'll show you all of the platforms on which I do my podcast. It'll allow you to click on the link that will take you to the YouTube channel, so you can like, follow, subscribe, click the notification bell so that you'll know when I'm going to be posting new videos, so you can keep connected with me. So I want you to make sure you're doing that. And here's I have a little picture up for those who are on the Zoom. They can see the YouTube channel. So it has the playlist of all of the shows, so you're able to see those. You can go and see Danielle's show. Everything is there. So even if you go from my website and you click on the title of the show, you'll be able to go on and watch the show, in replay. So, make sure that you stay connected that way. I'm also on Instagram here under Minister Kim Martin, and some of you are already on, and you can tell your friends about it. And then on Facebook, I'm under How Now Podcast with Kim Martin Raymond. So you can click on either one of them, and they'll, I post the shows weekly and on those two venues, and also on LinkedIn. And just stay connected with me, so that way when what's happening in the now, what's happening when the show is coming on. So you're always equipped. Okay, there are some of the podcast platforms. I'm on iTunes, Pandora, Spotify, Amazon Music, Podbean, TuneIn, SoundCloud, Mixcloud, Audible, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts. So whatever your favorite platform is, check me out. Okay, so come on and check me out.
Hold on, take that back. I'm taking a picture of that screen.
Okay. Oh, she's taking a screenshot. Okay, so take a screenshot. If you're watching it in replay, take a screenshot. All you have to do is go in, type in How Now podcast, and it should hop right up. But I also have them listed on my website, and if you click on there and you sign in, it'll take you right to my page. And so you can, it doesn't get any easier than that. So I try to make it easy for people to be able to go on and find me.
Now, do I have to be a member of all of those? Do I have to have like a subscription?
Yes, you have to have a subscription, or you can sign up. It just depends. But some people already have existing accounts with, if they do music or they have playlists or things like that. So yeah, if you don't have one, you can sign up. If you do have one, or it's a matter of just going into the search bar and putting in How Now Podcast, and it'll pop up. So yeah, check it out, try it out, and see if you can make it work. And I just want to say thank you to all of my listeners from around the world, because when I do these things and I'm on these different platforms, I get feedback from those that you may not see. So, those people are reaching back to me, and they're reposting my things on Mixcloud and SoundCloud and all these other podcast platforms. So they're going in and checking it out. So I want you to be a part of that. And also when you go to the website, go on the bottom if you've seen any of the shows and leave a comment. And then that way I can put those comments up as well. You know, whether the person is a guest or whether you're a listener, go on there and show your girls some love. So that way people are, you know, knowing what's happening in now and that, you know, we're making a difference. That's what we're trying to do. We're just trying to, you know, help one person at a time. And, you know, and if we can do that, then we feel like it's a blessing. So thank you to all my listeners all over. There are people who are listening in Germany. There are people who are listening in France. There are people who are listening in Africa, all over the world. So it's wonderful to know that people are listening in. Okay. And so with that, I want to say, stay tuned for season 3. That's going to start at the beginning of the year. I've got a couple of shows that are going to air before the year ends. We're going to take that week off for Christmas and then maybe for the new year. And then we're going to start back with season 3, probably in the second week of January. And then, like I said, I'll be sharing my journey as we go along. Hey, cuz. I just had my little cousin join on Instagram. So, hey, I love you. And so, like I said, stay tuned for season 3. Make sure that you follow, like, share, subscribe. Make sure you're going on the website and staying connected. And so I look forward to bringing you more information, more shows, talking about my upcoming surgery. Y'all send prayers up for me. Like I said, it's just in 2 short days. I'll be doing some major surgery and you know, I will be sharing my results. You know, this has been a journey. This has been a season. It's been filled with wonderful things. And I just thank everyone for their support and their love and for, you know, sharing this time. I know we went a little over on this one, but, you know, thank you so much for stopping in, for showing your love, for listening. And, you know, I look forward to, you know, what's to come. Okay. Thank you, Danielle, for joining me and for hanging out with me.
Of course.
At traffic and jumping on. Like I said, you guys check out her show, go on the website, find her show and click on it and you'll be able to listen. She gives some wonderful tips. She'll talk about her fitness explosion that she's got coming up in a couple of weeks in January
21st.
Yeah, and I'm gonna get my shirt and then make sure I gotta get my shirt because now on my other shirts I have to say don't fit.
Right.
And I'm okay with that, but I'm keeping them. I'm keeping them as a gentle reminder.
Well, I'm telling everybody over the years, because I don't know when this will ever end, but over the years, collect them all and eventually make a quilt out of them.
Yes,
you can send in T-shirts, and that's what they do now.
That's it.
So I'm gonna get all my shirts.
Yeah, I'm not getting rid of them. You won't see my shirt in Goodwill or anything else like that. It's gonna be on my back or it's gonna be in my closet. That's it. That's it. Yeah, but like I said, again, thank you all for staying with me, for hanging out with me for this little bit over an hour that I've been here talking about the How Now podcast. Thank you for your support. Make sure that you like, follow, share, subscribe, hit that notification button. Find out what's going on in the now. And again, thank you all. Love you all. Peace and blessings in this holiday season.
Amen. Happy holidays.
May it be a prosperous time for you. Know that you are prayed for and loved more than you can know. And as I said at the end of all of my shows, until I see you the next time, I say peace.
Peace out.
Good night, y'all.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Thank you, darling.
Love y'all.
Thank you, Kim. Love you.
Bye.
Bye, darling.
Bye, y'all. It was great hanging out with you guys. Thank you for joining me on Instagram.